He's the man in the back of the room. Y con la voz de Dios. He's told U.S. presidents where to sit, CEOs where to go, and stars when to shine. But as he likes to point out,
who cares? I care.
It's true, she cares. And so does he. He's entertainment and production agency owner and meeting and event master, Anthony Bollotta. She's his Agent 99, and you're about to be Bollotta-FIDE.
Hi there, friends, and welcome to another episode of Bollotta-FIDE, the one and only pod about events, entertainment, and engagement. I'm Anthony Bollotta, and I'm here every week, as I always am, with the always delicious, always optimistic Alexia Cristina Postolidis and the really wonderful Mike Lee. We're in a conversation with Mike Lee, and, I thought it might be fun to regurgitate some of the messages we had the last time we had you on and see where you stand on these statements today. Are you ready to play with us?
Let's do it.
Okay, before we get started, if you're a new listener, please take this time to like and subscribe.
Go ahead. We'll give you a sec. Why, thank you.
All right, so Mike Lee, last time we spoke, you said sensitivity is a gift. Is it?
I think it can be a gift if it's used with intention. I think, sometimes myself included, like the world just seems to be too much. But I think what I meant by that is it can be a gift because it allows us to see what other people need and anticipate what other people need, and then be in service of that need when we have the awareness of it.
So if you had a choice between sensitivity and not being sensitive is really a gift. It's the better of the two.
If you can learn to work with it. It could also be a curse.
Yeah.
It can also
Blessing,
be a curse.
You decide. All right.
Can I just ask
Yes.
a quick question on that? What would your reaction be when somebody says you're too sensitive?
I don't know. I mean, if somebody said that to me, years ago, it would have been, I would have felt a sense of hurt from it, right? It would have been a sense of, it's almost like it's obviously viewed as like a negative thing in our society.
Mm-hmm.
It's also viewed as like a character flaw, I guess my response to that today would maybe be something along the lines of you're not sensitive enough, like you're not aware enough. But I don't know. I don't know how I would answer that.
I'm glad to hear you say that, because my rule of thumb, and something I've taught my daughter, and I've been vastly criticized for it, is when somebody says that to either one of us, smile, say thank you, and walk away.
Yeah.
And a sincere thank you, and walk away.
Yeah. I don't know what good comes from a sentence, from an exclamation like "you're too sensitive." I have a hard time understanding that, because if somebody is way too sensitive, telling them that is not going to help at all.
It is kind of counterproductive, isn't it, Anthony?
Yeah, I don't know what the context is. The first thing that came to mind is my basketball experience and a coach telling that to a kid. It's tricky. It's a hard, depending on the environment that you're in, it's a hard thing to navigate. But I would say it's like, I'm just thinking about this now. And if somebody said, you're too sensitive, I would argue that some of the people that have provided the most value to our lives, and I'm just thinking of like artists, I don't name one artist that's not sensitive, right? So it's like, and think of all the music and the art and all the things that we consume and enjoy, that all came from a place of sensitivity, a place of pain that they turn something into something beautiful that we
And
enjoy.
vulnerability.
Yeah.
And if I could say, I do believe it is possible to be overly sensitive, and I do believe that I used to be overly sensitive to the point where, if somebody looked at me cross-eyed or said something that wasn't supposed to be objectionable but felt like it was to me, I would instantly feel like I've been hurt. And there is an issue with that because it's debilitating. When you lead with your sensitivity, you do have to learn to sort of, or I had to learn to not be so sensitive and to not take things so personally.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say is like there's two layers to it. I think there's one layer is the sensitivity, and that there's no meaning assigned to that.
Hmm.
Sensitivity is sensitivity. It's just you just think about it from like a physiology standpoint. But
Hmm.
then you take it another layer deeper and you're saying, well, am I taking this personally from the standpoint of whatever it is? That's where I think the difference is.
Mm.
I really feel, as I grow as a human, that what you're talking about, Anthony, is stemmed in self-worth. And as your self-worth grows, the side-eye glances no longer have meaning.
Mm.
It's not that you're less sensitive. It's that you love and like yourself and believe in yourself more. And so the judgmental aspects of others no longer affect you. But your
Yeah,
sensitivity has
100%.
not decreased.
Right. That feels right. Feels true.
Completely
Oh,
agree with that.
okay. Number two, you are what you think.
Do you have context? Is that how I phrase that?
I think it was with regard to the thoughts in your head really do determine what kind of person you are. That what you think about yourself is what is.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's true to a certain extent from the standpoint of, I guess, everything that manifests externally was initially a thought that was planted, a
Mhm.
thought that was birthed before that turned into something into our reality, whether that's a vision for a business or something that we say to somebody in context of a relationship. Um, and I think maybe where I was going with that was like really operating with a level of awareness as to uh, what we do allow into our minds, what we do consume, what we do think, and being able to use that awareness to operate with more intention.
Is it also if you think you can, and if you think you can't, you can't?
No. I like
Okay.
I don't subscribe to the belief that you need to believe that you can do something before you can do something. To me, you need to do something 10,000 times and then you'll believe that you can do it.
Can you
Mm.
believe in your potential to achieve it
I do.
within realistic boundaries?
Well,
Yeah,
maybe not.
I do, but I don't think that belief in and of itself can create something. Like the belief has to be coupled with action.
Oh, what?
Right. Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I think I was in a yoga class years ago and I had a teacher that was demonstrating a pose. I don't remember exactly what it was, but she said the first step to believing that, or the first step to doing something is believing that you can. And I was like, this is completely wrong. Like the first step to doing something is doing it 10,000 times, and then you'll believe that you can do it.
Mm.
And I think the reps and the preparation are what breed confidence and belief.
Mm,
Um, I think we need to give that belief some legs to stand on. And I
mm,
think even if it's, believing in the potential that you can do something, you're also drawing on past experiences in order to support that belief, right? So for me, an example maybe would be some going on some hike, right? That's something that I've never done before. Maybe it's whatever it is. And I'm just making, let's say it's a 10,000-foot summit, right? I have other experiences in my life that say I went through insane stuff preseason basketball training or college preseason basketball training. The things that we did during that time, those 8 weeks before the season started, were absolutely insane. There's no way that I can't climb a mountain, right? And
mm,
so I think there is there is something to that, but it's also rooted in things in the past that we have done.
mm,
Even if they're unrelated, though. If even if it's as simple as I have overcome this, what appeared to be insurmountable barrier, and I did it. This is nothing but a thing. Of course I can do it. Now I have to take action. And that's where people get hung up on the whole power of manifestation. They think if I say it, it will be. Great, say it. But then you have to follow through
Yeah.
with action and action and action and action and make it happen. You have to believe that you can, but you also have to act on it.
But belief could be the catalyst to act, right?
Yes,
If you believe you can do
100%.
something, you're more willing to try it than you are if you don't believe you can do
If you're
it.
constantly told or you constantly tell a child, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that,
They're not
that
going to
gets
try.
so
Yeah.
deeply rooted in their psyche, in the very tissue of their being. To overcome that, and I'm saying this from experience, to overcome that takes a lot of hard work, it takes a lot of belief, it takes a lot of action.
Mm. Okay, number 3. I don't know anything about anything.
I probably was referring to just operate, it goes back to, something we were talking about on the episode, but talking about this, about surrender, right? From the standpoint of like, do I really know what's best for me? I think that I might know, but do I really know? I mean, I look at, I'm sure both of you have examples of things in your life where in the moment you thought that X was exactly what you needed and what was most beneficial for you. And 3 months down the road, 3 years down the road, whatever it is, you are so glad that that thing didn't happen.
Mm.
Right. And
Mhm.
so operating from that, I look at it from the standpoint of like, I'm single and I'm so glad that relationships haven't worked out with certain people because they weren't the right person for me.
Mhm.
Right,
And I would have been stuck in a miserable relationship and circumstances.
right.
And so just looking at it from that standpoint of humility.
Hmm. Do I feel like I'm with you. I walk around this earth feeling like I don't really know anything about anything. That things I thought were true have been proven wrong. Things I thought could never happen. But it does seem like some people walk the earth with this assuredness that things are exactly the way they think they are. Is that possible, or is it just a front, or what do you think? I'm perplexed by those people and a little bit in awe of them that they can be so definitive. Yes, this is exactly the way it is. This is the way it is. There's no questioning it. Is is that a little short-sighted? What are your thoughts? It boggles my mind, and so I'm curious to know what you think.
There's so many layers to that. I think I could answer, I can just share from my own personal experience. I I kind of used to walk around like that. And then I went through a series of things that were very traumatic for me. And
Hmm.
that sense of conviction was almost like robbed from me. And I don't, I think that some people go through their lives and they can walk with that sense of conviction. And for whatever reason, like this life that they're living in right now, they, um, are seemingly in more control of things than other people are. And that leads to a sense of conviction when you're doing it over and over and over again. And for whatever reason, other people's their life this time around is they're living in a different classroom, we'll say. And so I think I think it's so dependent on each person's life that they're living.
Are you saying that the amount of uh, not necessarily chaos, but dealing with, hard times, issues, that build character and help us to realize that we don't know as much as we think we do? If you
I think
if you exper if you experience significant setbacks, for example, you might be more apt to reevaluate life and question the things that you thought were real. Whereas if you don't uh, have any setbacks in your life, then you may not.
Yeah, I think that, an example would be, there's research around this from a trauma standpoint, and I think the research shows that essentially the more traumatic events that show up in our life that are outside of control, where we quite literally do lose our sense of control and our ability to feel safe and to navigate the world, it's called your internal locus of control. And it's essentially a spectrum of your belief as to how much you believe you can control certain outcomes in your life. And it can either be, you can have a high internal locus of control or a low internal locus of control. And the more trauma that you experience, the lower you end up on this locus of control.
Mm,
That's interesting.
yeah. Well, maybe that's the difference between people who feel like life is living them and people who feel like they're living life. Those who feel a little bit more victimized are those who feel like life is living them. They don't really have a choice. Things happen. It's going to happen whether they want it or not. It's just the way life is. Whereas there are people who feel like they can make things happen and they are in control.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's just so many factors that go into it. I think every person's life experience is different.
Right. All right. It's not focus. We talked a little bit about this. It's not focus, it's awareness. And this was in regard to the state that you're really trying to manifest. Awareness over focus.
I think I answered this in the last episode, but I think
Mhm.
it's a balance. I don't necessarily think it's one or the other. I just think it's a balance of sustained focus and sustained awareness,
Mhm.
and being able to know what you need in the moment.
Being aware of what you need in the moment.
Yeah,
So keeping both alive at the same time.
Right.
it's a
All right.
hard mental state to be in.
Oh, yeah. Um, Last one. Be grateful for all that you have while you pursue all that you want. I think that's a Jim Rohn quote.
It is a Jim Rohn quote. Yeah, I mean, to me, that just means like we're if we focus so much on gratitude, it potentially could lead to a sense of contentment and complacency. But if we, are simultaneously holding both, just being, I'm grateful for what I have. I'm not focusing on the lack, but I'm also pursuing what I want to build for the future. It's almost this sense of you're able to hold the two mental states, really use the gratitude for what you have as energy to pursue what you want.
Mm.
Can I ask you, does that include being grateful for the things that didn't go the way you want and using it to propel you into what you do?
I think it can for sure. Yeah. I mean, some of the things that I'm most grateful for were the challenges that I had in my life.
Mm.
And they can be used as that for sure,
Mm.
as opportunities for gratitude.
And if you don't mind me saying, you also just pointed out that you're grateful that certain relationships didn't
Mhm.
transpire the way you originally thought you wanted them to, because looking back, you see that they wouldn't have been quite what you thought. It is possible to be grateful for things that don't happen, that you don't get, right?
Yeah.
Maybe in the rear view mirror,
Yeah.
Well,
but
hindsight,
still, right.
I mean, I use my daughter as an example of this all the time when I look back at my life and start to feel regret that I didn't do the A, B, and C that I thought I was going to do. But ultimately, not doing those led to a series of events that led to her. And yes, if I hadn't had her, I wouldn't have known the difference. But having had her, I wouldn't change that. And so it keeps me from going back and going, I regret. No, I don't.
Is this about coming from a lack rather than coming from abundance? Coming from a place where you feel like you don't get what you want, things don't work out the way you want them to, as opposed to coming from a place where you feel satiated and you feel like, to your point earlier, you trust that things are going to work out and that they have worked out to this point. So it does sort of help you to separate the things that you want from the things that you have. Does that make sense? When you come from a place of lack, you feel like you can't be grateful for anything that you have because you don't feel like you have anything.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Do
track.
you are you grateful for all that you have?
That's such a tricky question.
Oh,
Um,
so simplify it in your mind.
I would say from a cognitively, I am, but sometimes it's hard to access the feeling of it.
Mm, yeah.
That's interesting.
I mean, moods and feelings, those are things that we don't have control over that happen to us, right? I mean, and for no, with no warning, with no reason, sometimes you wake up, you might have had a great day the day before, but you wake up and you just can't feel it. Have you been there?
Oh, I've been there so many times. I
Oh my
mean,
God.
one of, I haven't really talked about this a lot on, publicly a ton yet, but I mean, I've dealt with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, and like one of the manifestations of that is just like a numbness of your nervous system where it's like it's not safe for you to feel. And I remember, man, I wish I could find the exact story to share with you because I wrote it down and I posted about it a while ago. But essentially, I was taking my dog for a walk and I live about like 15 minutes from Beverly Hills. And there's just like some just incredibly beautiful and like peaceful neighborhoods that are over there. And lots of times I'll drive over there just to take my dog for a walk because it's out of my neighborhood is a bit chaotic. And I remember a few years ago, I was taking her for a walk over there, and I was like, there's these like iconic streets that are lined with palm trees, and I'm sure you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking about, right? And I was taking her for a walk on one of those streets. It was a beautiful night, like just like perfect weather. The sun had set, like it was a pink
Mm.
like cotton candy sunset, and it was just incredibly beautiful, and I felt so at peace. And I started to cry in this moment, right? And I realized that I wasn't I wasn't crying because I was grateful. I was crying because I could actually feel.
Mm.
And it was and so I share that because like it has been hard for me to access gratitude, but at certain points. But it's the like breaking down of the nervous system to be able to feel safe enough to be able to feel is there can be gratitude for that in and of itself.
Mm.
I want to ask you to kind of add on to this. I find that sometimes it's very difficult to live in this aura of gratitude and not be toxically positive, because I do think toxic. And look, I am a woo woo girl. Almost everything in my life revolves around a woo woo nature. But the toxic positivity wants to make me jump off a cliff. What are your thoughts on that?
God, I have so many. Can we do another episode on this? I have so many thoughts on this, and I agree with you. It's, there is a balance, like from the standpoint of we get what we focus on, and like every single day are there's things that we can be grateful for, and there's things that we can focus on that are challenges in our life. And the problem that I have with this toxic positivity and the spiritual bypassing and all this stuff is that like lots of times people talk about, well, life is beautiful, I'm so grateful, and you can put things into that bucket. And then other people talk about, life is suffering, right? Life is either beautiful or life is suffering. And the truth is that it's not one or the other, it's both. Like we
Right.
live in a world of duality. It's not all rainbows and butterflies, and it's also not all climate change and wars, right? And so the truth is that it is duality. And the thing is like it's it's I don't think that it's also what it does is the other issue that I have with it is that it creates a barrier to vulnerable and authentic connections. And
Yes.
then you're living in this place where everybody has a facade and nobody's having real connection. And then we wonder why, you know, I think McKinsey did a study that was like 82% of people in 2022 were feeling lonely at work,
Mm.
right? That's insane to me that 82% of people could feel, and I mean, the stats of just regular, um, regular people, like the general public, right? The statistics of the number of people that feel a sense of loneliness is insane. The number of people that don't say that they have one close friend, the numbers are absolutely
Mhm.
insane. And
Wow.
I think, there's a lot of different factors to it. Like a lot of this stuff started to come out during COVID, and obviously there was a lot of, things going on with that. But I think one of the biggest barriers to this is, our lack of authenticity and vulnerability, and that being able to create a sense of connection.
Mm.
And us living in this toxic positivity um, doesn't make people feel safe
Mm.
to have emotional connections.
I think you hit it right on the head. It doesn't make people feel safe to have emotional connections. Thank you for phrasing it that way.
It's really, it's really unbelievable that there is so much loneliness. There are nearly 7 billion people on this earth, more than there have ever been before. There are more ways to communicate than there have ever been, and yet we feel lonelier than we have ever felt. It's not making sense, is it? It just it It feels like we're working, we're going backwards, and maybe technology is part of that. We don't have to get in that discussion, but maybe, maybe the fact that we don't really connect authentically. We think we're connecting when we get online and we're on social media, but we're only just superficially seeing what's going on, and we take all that in at face value, right? Somebody looks like they're beautiful in every shot and their life is just gorgeous and they go to all these places and they're so happy, and that's a false front.
Yeah.
And right?
Yeah. And I think there's a rebellion with this from the standpoint. There's a rebellion with it, and there's an opportunity within it. And but I do think technology is a factor in it. We're just surrounded by ads and notifications, and we're addicted to these devices that then prevent us from connecting with people in real time. And it's like, I think the opportunity in it is for people to create spaces for that, for the human connection, for vulnerability, for authenticity. And I think there's an opportunity for businesses to create cultures that value those things. I think there's an opportunity for people to create physical, like, third spaces to offer those things. But there's an awareness of it, and I think there is a rebellion that's coming, or that's happening.
People letting go of technology, or people?
I wouldn't say letting go, but I think creating intentional blocks where they're off of it, or spaces where it's a weekend retreat, no phones allowed, no tech allowed,
So,
things like that.
so just one more question for you, and it's not the 5 statements, but we're talking about this. What about AI and the fact that more messages are making it into our inboxes that are not even driven by humans, they're driven by machines, and we'll never be able to keep up with that? Is that a concern?
I think it is. I think, with every new problem comes a new solution. I think there are certain things that are happening that are mitigating some of that. The new Apple update that came out, I guess it's been out for a while, but like the Apple Intelligence that's giving you summaries of emails, right? And things like that. There will be an opportunity for people to create technology that helps essentially like filter some of that out. But I think it comes back to like intention. It comes back to just not being in a place of reactivity to everything, not being in your inbox all day long, understanding what's urgent, what's important, and being able to compartmentalize. If we look at every single, all of us that are on here right now could look at everything that we have on our list, and it could be important. It's like really being able to prioritize and execute on what's important in the moment, and operating with that awareness, which is not easy.
No. Thank you for that. Thank you. Well, thank you for joining us again, Mike. I think we could probably talk forever about this with you. Thank you so much. And it's been years since we've seen each other, but feels like it hasn't been years. So thank you for that. It feels like you feel like family.
I love spending time with you.
Thank you. Ditto. And we tell us how we can reach you if we'd like some consultative time from you. Tell us how we can reach you.
Yeah, 2 places I'm hanging out most are LinkedIn and Instagram, at Who Is Mike Lee, or MindShiftLabs.com.
Who is Mike Lee? MindShiftLabs.com. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, thank you for listening to Bollotta-FIDE.
If you haven't already, please like and subscribe.
And remember to leave us your questions or comments at bollotta.com/podcast.
Bollotta-FIDE is a production of Bollotta Entertainment.
Hey, that's a lot of Bollotta. Stay engaging.